Hello, troubled youths. Welcome to another session of me talking about an episode of a superhero animated series. Today, I will be talking about the Batman Beyond episode Payback. If you haven't seen the episode, or if you have but it's been a long time, then you have two options laying before you. Either listen to me quickly sum up the plot, where there will be lots of spoilers, or go watch the episode before you finish this video. It's up to you. So there's a guy with a laser whip named Payback, and he's targeting adults in Gotham who are mean to teenagers. Turns out all of the teenagers are going to a doctor to vent about their problems. If it sounds like a huge waste of money when these kids could just whine about their problems on the internet for free to some unqualified hack instead of paying some unqualified hack to listen to them talk about their problems, then you would be correct. Anyhow, Payback is targeting the people they are complaining about in their sessions, so Batman has to figure out who is connected to these sessions that is also Payback. This episode is a pretty cut and dry mystery story. We have a bad guy. It can only be one of three people. Who could it be? And as Paul Dini said about a later episode in the series, these episodes were always tricky because in such a short amount of time, you can't really do much with that limited formula. As Pierce Brosnan said in Murder 101, expect the person you don't expect. That's what I always do whenever I watch these episodes. So even though I didn't remember this episode at all, I knew it had to be the kid who was doing all of this. And sure enough, I was right. And I've talked about this before as well. If this was a 6-part comic book storyline, then maybe the writer would have more room to throw more red herrings at the reader to confuse them like the Long Halloween did. Admittedly, the problem I would have there would be that this is a story that could be done in much less space and is being stretched out just to preserve the mystery through red herrings. So it's really a question of which is more important, preserving the identity of the villain so that the mystery is still, well, mysterious, or cutting down all of the fluff that would be needed to obscure the identity of the CAD so that this doesn't feel like it's wasting our precious and valuable time. And that's a question I can't really answer. Beyond that, this episode reminded me of the character of Anarchy from the early 90s Batman comics. Now, I did see this episode once upon a time, even though I don't remember it, but when I did see it, I hadn't seen anything with Anarchy from the comics, so that connection did not click for me until watching the episode this time. Both villains are little kids who the story wants us to think is an adult, and if I'm being honest, Anarchy's origin story works a lot better if you value the story trying to keep the identity of the villain a mystery, and both stories even end with the dad feeling sad that his son was a bad guy. Really, the only difference is that Batman Beyond won't continue to use Payback as a recurring antagonistic frenemy like what was done with Anarchy in the early 90s. The only other thing that I thought worth mentioning concerning this episode was the interactions between Terry and Bruce. It was nice to see that, even now, Terry and Bruce still don't always see eye to eye, but the intensity of Bruce's dissatisfaction with Terry being Batman in this episode felt really contrived and forced in a few different places. Terry acts like the case is dead when there's no information on the net, and Bruce chides him for it. Okay, but Terry has shown much more commitment to being Batman in previous episodes, like Lost Soul, so this sudden, oh, I'm a modern kid and I can't do anything without technology portrayal seemed really forced just to get Terry in an ineffective place so that Bruce would yell at him. And coming from the Bruce Wayne side of things, while we haven't had a specific episode all around Bruce saying, I'm proud of you, kid, you're the new Batman now, do me proud, we've had numerous small moments in this season and in season 1 where Bruce has been a little more understanding that Terry has his own methods and gets the job done effectively. So for him to suddenly be up Terry's butt about having the wrong dude, which, come on Bruce, are these robotic buff suits that make kids look like Bane really common enough in the future for Terry to even entertain the idea that it was the kid? That feels a little awkward. Yeah, we wouldn't have this episode if that tension wasn't there, since Terry has to have something to complain about in therapy to get to the climax of the story where Payback targets Bruce Wayne, but maybe this episode should have been squeezed into season 1, where this unease between the two of them would have felt much more natural. So those are my thoughts on this episode. What did you guys think? Like it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this review, you're in luck, because I review animated superhero shows every week, and next week I'll be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and the week after that I'll be tackling another episode of Batman Beyond, and throughout the week I do other videos as well, so be sure to check those out if you want to. In the meantime, I'll see you in the future. Have a great day.